Hey everybody, how you doing? I was looking at the interview that I did with Pacific Maritime Shipping Association lawyer Mike Jacob, talking about not just the lawsuit they filed, the latest one against the Bay Conservation and Development Commission, but also the Oakland Athletics firing of Vice President for External Affairs Tashombe, which occurred on Friday. I was informed about it on Sunday and broke the story. And I asked Mike about it since he knows Taj very well. And here is what Mr. Jacob had during our conversation. Actually, I started right off with it, right here. This is what he had to say. Hey everybody, I'm back, and thanks everyone for first of all informing me about Tashombe, what happened to him. What do you think about that, Mike? This is my friend Mike Jacobs from the PMSA, Pacific Maritime Shipping Association.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, don't know what's really going on behind the scenes, but we spent a lot of time with Taj over a couple of years pre-pandemic, and obviously we're on separate sides of the issues, but he was always active and engaged. And sometimes was the best spokesperson for the project and given the circumstances. So, you never wish anyone ill in their career, and hope everything that went down is relatively copacetic.
Would you consider hiring him? He needs a job out there. It was kind of like we got to get this man a job.
I don't think given the circumstances, I don't think we'd be able to offer him enough money.
With Lucid Spark, you can bring your team's best and brightest ideas to life.
Hold on a second, folks.
The virtual whiteboard.
Skip ads and we'll continue with that. Hold on a second.
Hey, desperation produces a certain bedfellow. I mean, you never know. Right? It would be interesting to have him on the other side of the coin. You never know. But
well, and as this especially just East Bay in general, but Oakland in particular, it's a very small town. So you'll see the same folks on different issues and over the years, and so obviously any opportunity to work together with folks is a good one. And I would say, just on that same score, no one was reaching out to us about the ballpark project until your good friend and mine, late Tom Guarino, reached out to me and said, "Hey, have you been talking to the A's about this ballpark stuff yet?" And I said no, and the person he had reach out and get in contact with us was Taj. So,
Yeah, Taj is a good man, and in fact, Taj is in a lot of ways like Tom. As I think about it, so
different wardrobe.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hey, no one can rock the Tommy Bahama like Tom Guarino. That's a fact. That's a fact. Hey, so talk to us about this lawsuit. So that's what he had to say about Taj. Taj is extremely well respected.
I have to also explain that Taj's firing was no laughing matter at all. It shouldn't have happened. And I had reached out to the Athletics for an explanation. They did not reach back to me. However, they did reach back to Legacy White Media to say to them that, well, more than it was an internal issue, but they took time to attempt to use that publication to gaslight what I did, and actually wound up affirming it, because the so-called spokesperson for the A's didn't deny that there was these unauthorized funds. And I stand by my source. And I stand by the source with that source, who contacted me out of the blue and told me precisely what happened, and then proceeded to talk about how terrible it was. And I will say this again, that this episode clearly highlights the fact that there is a racial division in media such that you have a very prominent African-American sports executive that something bad happened to, and the first people to reach out to share with each other what was going on with that person were other black people, including me, in that chain. And so the simple fact of the matter is the other publications, the white legacy media that the A's reached out to the A's,
latest one
didn't have, excuse me for that second, don't have those same kind of social ties, because those organizations don't seek to attract people who do, or have relationships with them. Those publications certainly don't seek to have a relationship with me like that. Now, in the days of City Brights, the San Francisco Chronicle blog site that had myself on it, Richard Lieberman, Yobi Benjamin, and others, that would have been different, completely different, because I would not have hesitated, being a City Brights blogger as well as having my own publication, I would not have hesitated to put it on my space, in my space. And that would have benefited the Chronicle and myself, right? So the Chronicle won by having me with my ties as part of it. The Chronicle lost because they didn't have me with my ties with them. And I own my own I own just 67% of my own of the C Corp Zenny 62 Media. It's not my own. It is sanctioned by the state of Delaware, and they approved the stock in December 17th of 2019, but I digress. So, but the most important point here is that blogging matters, and I know that publication referred to me as a journalist. I'm a blogger, not a journalist, and for the reasons I've just described. If I had to do it through an editorial chain, I would have been stopped by someone who said, well, can you get another source, another confirmation? When in point of fact, I had more than one person giving me that news. And I remember when I was a City Brights blogger and I broke a story within that, there were sports editor people with the Chronicle that were upset that I did and tried to discredit what I did. All right? Even though it benefited the organization. And they weren't paying me. I arranged to have myself paid through my YouTube channel and the way I placed the code that I wrote, and proceeded to generate more traffic for that website during the time that I was on it than any other part of that website, including the gossip-focused Daily Dish. That is a fact. That is a fact. I estimate that of the 100 million page views generated by the City Brights program over its life, I'm responsible for 1/4 of that, 25 million. And so the way they treated me, I decided, they blocked me because I had put out a story about Energy Secretary Rick Perry, which was all over the place in Texas. And they decided to hire someone. Phil Bronstein wanted me to run SFGate. Actually, he wanted them to hire me as a consultant. And so when Vlad Kirshner and Michelle Slack interviewed me, Vlad asked me if I was using illegal code. Now, Vlad doesn't know how to code to save his life, or didn't, all right? And it was an insult. In other words, because I'm black, I couldn't possibly know more than them, right? And so when Alana Gwen blocked me, she's the person that they hired. They never gave me a real interview. She then said, well, I know you want to talk about this, write me an email. I said, I'm not going to write you an email. I'm going to call you. And I did. And then I made a video about her and what happened, which is right here in Zenny 62 right now. And I vowed to beat them at their own game in Oakland. And this is yet another example of the fact that I did so. I scooped them. I got the story. Okay? I am a prime example of what happens when you piss off a black person in media who knows what they're doing. And even when I don't know what I'm doing, I admit I don't know what I'm doing, and I learn and I get better. And I learn the code, and I build my own systems, networks, and platforms. That's what Zenny62 Media Incorporated at zenny62media.com online is all about. Check us out. We seek investors, okay? But nobody beats me. Nobody. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnowblog.com.